Hey everybody, it is Mike. I am joined by Lenny Fly of Superfly Collectibles. We have a great story here. Lenny, how are you, my friend?
Great, really great, Mike.
Good. It's good to have you. So tell me first, before we get into the story, tell me about your shop and give us your story a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 90% of the people my age in the hobby. I was a collector when I was a kid. Junk wax area kicked in, girls kicked in, I quit. And I'm one of the weirdos whose mom saved my stuff.
Yeah,
And
me too.
when I found my stuff, I also found my dad's stuff and a little bit of my granddad's stuff.
Oh,
So I was super weird. And so when my son got into Pokemon, that's how it starts.
yeah.
Uh, I had no interest, but I was buying him boxes that he could open for birthdays and holidays and stuff. And then baseball came around and he started getting into baseball cards. And I was like, oh, we're going to go get Dad's collection. And that was during COVID. And of course, we got more and more into it. We were hunting wax to open up. And long story short, I worked in finance for a long, long time. And I was very ready to not be in finance anymore. And my son asked me to open an eBay store for him. And I was like, oh, I already have an eBay store. So we took that and turned it into collectibles. And the first card we sold was an Ellie De La Cruz autograph card. And it brought really good money. And I'll never forget it because we were down in the Bahamas on like a finance trip. And it sold. And I was like, oh, crap, now what do I do? Because I've never done it before. And this was about almost 2 years ago. And my ramp time was really fast. And all the people you interview are the ones that have taught me how to do this for a living.
Yeah.
So the YouTube world has been like a catalyst for me. I use all the cool AI technology, the programs, and I've got, almost 50,000 listings, and I could do more, but I've run up against my wall with eBay. So anyway.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you named your store Superfly.
Yeah. My last name is Fly, Fly. And because of Back to the Future, I didn't want to be the kid whose shoes were untied all the time. So Superfly stuck. And my friends always called me Super. And so when we named the collectible side, I was like, oh, it's perfect. So, and I have a really fun story to go along with that. So the first collection we consigned, in one of the boxes, in a big junk wax box, there was a bunch of wrestling cards. And we found a Superfly Jimmy Snuka. And I sent it to PSA to get it graded just because I was like, I have to have it graded. Well, it came back at 10, just like your Billy Ripken. And that's like our first like real big PC item. And it's the only 10 in the world, apparently. So
Wow. And is that from 86?
Yeah, something like that. I'd have to grab it, but it's like in the mid 80s for sure. The one where he's jumping off the top ropes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's great. What state are you in?
I'm in South Carolina. Yeah, I'm out by the beach, a place called Johns Island.
Okay, great. And do you have a physical store?
Not really, but it's happening. We're going to make the cardboard cabin at the back of our property. I've got a big, one of those pre-built sheds coming. It's like 12 by 28. We're turning it into a baseball card shop.
Wow.
I've had employees my whole life, so it's just going to be me and my kids, and they're helping.
Yeah,
so
that's fantastic. So you reached out to me, and I have the email up.
Yeah.
It's attic find with a question mark. And I get these a lot, Lenny. I get them a lot. And most of them, I get excited. I still get excited every time I see that subject line. But most of them, I'm like, I've already covered this, or this isn't something I'm going to cover, or no, there's nothing to this. Yours, though, is different. Tell us about the 292 cards.
Yeah, so this is crazy to me, Mike. I started doing shows about a year ago, in-person shows, and I go to some small ones. We've gone to the National. Didn't set up this year. I'm going to set up with a buddy of mine. But at the shows, people come up and they want to sell stuff, and I like old vintage, so I've got a lot of tobacco and Cracker Jack cards and stuff laid out in my booth. And somebody walks up to me, and his name is Mike as well. Sorry about confusing emails, by the way.
That's okay.
So Mike walks up to me and he says, "Hey, I see you have a bunch of tobacco cards. There's something I want to show you." And he reaches into his bag and he pulls out these little pouches with, the little mini top loaders with tobacco cards in them. And he hands them to me, and on top there's a Thai cop. So my heart stopped. And he obviously has not much clue what he's got, but he knows he has some value here. And I start drooling, of course. And I asked him, I said, what do you want to do? Are you wanting to sell some of them? And he says, I really don't want to sell them, but you seem super excited. He goes, I'd be willing to sell you a few. So I picked out a LaJoy or LaJoy, however you pronounce it, and then a couple of commons. I think it was 7 cards in total. And I paid him for those. And I gave him my card and I said, please reach out to me. I would love to see the rest of the collection. Long story short, we sat down and he walks in the door to my house with an absolute horde. And he proceeds to tell me the story. And this is where it gets really fun. So his dad and his dad's 2 brothers lived in New Orleans, and they worked in the French Quarter of New Orleans at an accounting firm, I think, and this is a little conjecture here because I've gotten piecemeal story, but Mike's grandfather worked for his great-grandfather's accounting firm or something like that. So they were working in an accounting firm as teenagers, and they would listen to baseball games during the day while they were doing ledger work. And they had a book from 1906, and it's embossed on the front. I think I sent you a picture. 1906 accounting book. And on the inside of it, I opened it up, and there was, the normal newspaper clippings of like Cy Young and Ty Cobb and Honest Wagner, like these newspaper clippings. But further back in the book, they had kept score of the games with pencil. And so it would be like Detroit playing Cleveland or whatever. And it would have the names of the players listed out. And there's Honest Wagner, and there's Ty Cobb. And for me, it was like, this was a treasure to start with. Well, then we start flipping through the book, and there's tobacco cards on every page. And so the total, and this is where it gets nuts. In total, there were 292 cards, roughly a little over 200 T213 coupons, and then 2 red crossbacks. And that's where my brain started spinning and started doing research. And then there's a bunch of T207s as well. And the condition on a lot of them is really, really good, but there's some that are creased. You can tell they were closed up inside the book. I mean, I guess they just didn't care. But the entire set is here, including a lot of variations except for the Admiral Schley, which apparently was bought from his grandfather a long time ago, along with a couple of the Cobbs, for not much money. They told him it wasn't worth much, so he sold them to a guy, and they're out in the universe now.
So I have that.
Yeah, that one's right here. I think I've got it close to the front for you, Mike. So that's the Cobb, and this one is
Let
the.
me just show you.
So I know that's hard to see.
No, I'm gonna do that. There you go.
So this is the Cobb, and this one's got a crease in it. Golly, it's hard with the lights. Let me see if I can adjust them.
Yeah, I can just show it again on the photo from the photo
so
that you
there's
sent
the
me.
Cobb.
Yeah.
And it's literally like multiples. It's hard to explain until you see it. So that's all tobacco cards. So there you go. There's T207, and this side is all T213s. And some of them are in really, really, really good condition. This one is my favorite. That's one going to stay in my PC. His last name is Shart. And so my kids thought it was hilarious. So we're keeping the Shart card. I'm going to buy that for the collection. And then a card I always wanted, I've tried buying several times, T206, is the Huggins, the one where he's got his hands in the air.
Yeah.
And there were 4 of these, so we're going to buy one of these from him as well. So. And to like kind of add to the story, Mike, this is where it gets a little more nuts. Because like, not that story's not silly enough. I probably have 100 tobacco in stock of all different types, and to have 292 is crazy. Well, he passed the collection down to his son in 1973 or 78. I can't remember the exact date. But his father had collected too, and they had moved sometime in the late 40s, early 50s. They had moved to New York City, and they had an accounting firm in New York City, and the father was a collector too. So in there was a bunch of 1950s cards from 1956, 55, some 54 Bowman football, 55 Bowman football too. But but there was a couple of Mickey Mantles in really good shape. Those are already at grading. There's a Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays, some of the big cards. So that was exciting. But what I think was the most exciting, and actually I can grab this because I want to show this to you, Mike. So in one of the boxes, he goes, yeah, my dad being a Yankees guy, I guess his father had tickets, like season tickets, to see the Yankees every year. So in '56, when they went to the series, they went to all of the series games except for Game 7, because I guess the father was sick is kind of the gist that Mike and I got. And there is a Game 7 unused ticket, Jackie Robinson's last game in the collection too.
Wow.
And then on top of that, there's 3 seats from the original Yankee Stadium that I haven't seen yet, but he's bringing those back from Florida next time down. So
what do you mean 3 seats?
The actual seats from the stadium, from the original Yankee Stadium. From when they tore down, apparently there's a lot of them out there. People would go take them when they were tearing down the stadium, and they grabbed 3 of them, and he said they're in really good shape. So
that's amazing.
It's absurd, right?
Yeah, it certainly is. It sounds like you have a pretty good grasp on baseball history too.
I do, yeah.
You grew up.
I grew up around it. I played up until I was 15. I got hurt real bad practicing for the All-Star game, and that was kind of the end of my career. And 15, girls were way more important. So, so I put that down. But I've always been a fan, and I've been going down to spring training for a lot of years. I went to school in Colorado, so I've been down to the Cactus League too. We actually leave on Sunday to go down to Florida.
Yeah.
But I always loved the history side. For me, pre-war was always what I wanted. I just never could afford it.
I understand.
And so now I get to play with that stuff all day. So I live in a toy box, Mike.
So you sent them off to PSA, I assume, because I saw the PSA semi-rigids.
No, so these are going to SGC.
Okay, great.
I'm an SGC fan. I know people want the pop reports and all that stuff.
SGC will get you them returned much, much quicker. You won't get upcharged. Well,
yeah. And I talked to the director of marketing today, and they're going to speed these through, and they've got their head grader on it. I tried to get it as a named collection. I didn't know the process. I just thought it'd be cool to have it stamped up there, the French Quarter Find or something.
Yeah.
They weren't open to that. I guess it's a lot trickier than I knew. So I've learned some lessons through this process for sure. But I like the way SGC looks on these old pre-war because they're so bright. It's like a frame. I know some people are probably going to crack them out after and put them into PSA slabs, but who knows?
Yeah. But for pre-war, my belief, and a lot of other YouTubers who are much bigger experts than I am in pre-war and vintage will tell you that SGC brings just about the same value, and you're getting them back much, much quicker. Yeah,
and that's part of it too. The Mike, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but Mike is in a rough place financially, so this is a giant windfall for him. His father is not doing well, and so he passed these down to his son. Another piece of this is he's down there, or he just got back, and he's trying to find. In the book, there was a list of all the cards. So there's around 30 cards missing that were not stolen, but bought by this guy. But there was also a list of stuff from the 30s. So we're still trying to find out if that still exists. And the father doesn't have his cognitive ability to figure out where the stuff's at. But they're in a book somewhere in his house. So.
Wow.
So we might find more later. It wasn't in the attic, Mike. Sorry.
And so are you consigning them?
I am. Yeah. I mostly do consignment, Mike. I was a financial advisor for my career, and I was a fiduciary. So for me, this wasn't about like trying to milk this for every dollar.
Sure.
In my pocket, it was more, how can I milk it for every dollar in his pocket?
Yeah.
And I do that with primarily everybody, that when I take a collection in, I consign. Just because I'd rather see somebody get paid, 70 or 80% as opposed to 50 trying to buy a collection. So
makes sense. You could do some great branding. Superfly, the pre-war guy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're naming the cabin the Cardboard Cabin, so that we've got a little bit going on. I just suck at YouTube, man. Like, I'm glad you're asking questions.
So let me, I'm just going to share some of these pictures you sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the one where we laid them out, that was the one that made me go, holy crap.
You can see this now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this is, you talked about this being a type 2.
Yeah, so the lettering on the bottom is in blue ink. It's like a light blue ink, so that makes it a type 2. Type 1, the back's a little bit different as well, and there's a lot of type 2s in here, as well as a lot of variation cards, too.
Here they all are laid out on the table.
And keep in mind, there's a lot of stacks there. Some of them have 4 and 5 of each card. Of course,
the cob here.
Yeah, the cob's over there. I mean,
these are all T213s, and then these are the 207s.
Yeah, the T207s at the top. So the T207s are before the T206. I think they're a year before, and then the T213s were later. And these were all out of New Orleans. So Coupon was distributed in New Orleans. And then that's where that oddball back comes in. And I've found out a lot about that oddball back. So
you got a couple big ones here.
Yeah, there's Christie.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I know, man. This is crazy. Yeah, so not from the attic, but there's some really good stuff. Yeah, the Tris speaker is beautiful. Here in Charleston, I don't know if you know Mr. Mangini, John Mangini.
Of course.
So I know John. He comes to the shows. He's bought some stuff for me. He has put his hand up on the Tris speaker, but all the other cards in the T207 are there as well. So.
Yeah, Mangini's great.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
He's forgotten more about vintage than I've ever known.
Yes, very much.
So, yeah, okay. Here they all are on the table again.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's when we laid them out for the first time, and we both got to see them and went, holy crap. So.
And you're not cleaning the cards here with that Clorox spray, right?
Oh, God, no. No, that was cleaning the counter so I could put the stuff down. Remember, I have 5 children.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you showed it already. Holy crap. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's a special card, guys. And I could be wrong here. I'm sure there's somebody out there that will tell me I'm wrong. But from all the research we've done, this is a 1-of-1 card. So it's a type 2, and it's Dubuque, and it's a red crossback. And so from the research we've done, we found that there's 74 of them in the pop reports, and this one doesn't have a single card known that I'm aware of. So
with the red crossback.
With the red crossback. So there's a lot of Dubukes, and I've got other Dubukes in here with the same image on the front. So the way I understand it is Red Cross came out of New Jersey, and I guess they were more expensive to buy than the Coupon. So must have been out of their brand when they went to the store to get their smokes. And, you know, the Red Cross was the more expensive brand or something. Who knows? But apparently there was a Cobb Red Crossback with the collection as well that's gone.
Oh.
And then there was one other Red Crossback, but we don't know who it was. So it's a tragedy, but still, like, to see this card is.
And this is the front of the card.
That's the front, and you can see the corners are pretty sharp.
Yeah,
it's a nice, clean card. I would expect it's going to be a decent grade, but it's potentially a 1-of-1 card.
So let me see, make sure I've covered everything. Yep, I have. So you'll be selling these at a show through auction house. What's the plan?
A little bit of everything. So I've talked with Fanatics and REA. I've also talked with my buddy about bringing some up to the National. I think the big cards will probably go away quickly just so that Mike can put some money in his pocket and put himself in a better situation. I'm going to buy a couple for my personal collection. That's how I collect, Mike. This is where things are fun for me is each collection that I help with, I take at least one card that goes away forever.
Yeah.
So I don't like chase down like my Grail cards. I'm hoping that I get to have them in stock over time, and I'm living vicariously through other people's collections right now. So
that's great.
yeah.
So when you have them, make sure you let me know if they're listed on Fanatics or wherever, and I'll share them out probably in another video, but also in my newsletter, so people have the opportunity to. I've got some much bigger spenders than I am.
That's right.
Watching my channel, so
well, they'll definitely go onto my eBay store. People are welcome to reach out to me otherwise, because we all know eBay's awesome at their fees. I would love to put these in collections. I'm not necessarily trying to sell in bulk to a dealer. My end goal is to put these in the hands of collectors.
And this is you?
You got the wrong one there, boss. It's Superfly Collectibles SC.
Terrible.
Yeah. There's another one that's not very good, apparently. So I'm sure they're fine. Yeah, that's it. That's the right one.
Yeah. You've got 46,000 items listed almost. You sold 32,000. Pretty good positive feedback, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I try hard. I'm playing with toys all day, Mike. So anytime somebody gets angry, I just tell them, hey, chill out. We're playing with toys. Like, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry. So,
you're also on Facebook, I see.
No, my wife is on Facebook. I'm not a social media guy. I got Twitter only because I needed to see what was happening in the world. Or X, I apologize.
Yeah. Are you on any other socials?
Not at all.
Okay.
No. We have a YouTube channel, but like I said, man, I suck at social media. I'm not that generation. I know you're doing your YouTube videos and stuff. I don't have time for it. So.
I have time for YouTube and not much else. Like, I have an Instagram that I never post anything to anymore. I used to try, but it just was too cumbersome. I have Twitter that I'm on at night usually, but I don't post much on there.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have TikTok. I'm way too old
Twitter
for TikTok.
Just makes me angry.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Well, so Mike, I think I sent you a picture of the other thing, but lightning struck twice for me in the last month.
Okay.
Did you see the picture of the 33 Gaudi that came up to me this weekend?
I think I did, but I don't remember now.
Yeah. So on Saturday, we had a little show here in Beaufort, and I had somebody walk up with a box full of cards. And when I say box, it was a handmade wooden box with little handmade dividers in between, with about 200 cards in it. And inside was a 33 Gaudi Gehrig in mint condition, along with the 54 Mays in mint condition, 54 Bowman Mays. And there was a 53 Topps Mays that was beat to death. So I think that must have been the kid's favorite card. So that happened a couple weeks after the tobacco card find. So.
Oh, I do have them. I remember now.
Yeah.
Hang on. I've got this right here. Here's the maze.
Yes. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Look at these.
And I know the first thing people are going to say is this is fake. And I can tell you, the smell test and the touch test told me it's real. So it's off to grading. If it's fake, I will come back and say it's fake. But there's no reason. The cards in this box were absolutely. Look at the Jackie. I mean, these cards were beautiful, and there was a whole box. I mean, it was mostly commons, but there were some decent cards in there too. So.
Yeah, you've got a Pepitone, you've got a Slaughter. Those aren't Hank Bauer. These aren't.
Yeah,
they're commons.
I mean, the Maze that was my favorite from that one. So that's the one I'm probably going to buy. The Gehrig's way out of my price range.
Yes,
yeah.
That's one I would love to have myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take one in like an authentic or a 1 grade. Put it in
absolutely. Yes. And so. How do you get the word out? How do people know? Do they just come into the show and they see that you have vintage and think maybe I'll talk to this guy?
There's a combination of that. I think people, because when I go to shows down here, there's not a lot of vintage. It's a lot of Pokemon and brand new stuff and pack rippers and those guys. And that's not me. I'm a vintage guy. So I'll have, Mickey Mantles, and I'll have, I've got a couple of Cobbs that are in my inventory. And I've got, really nice stuff. So people come up and gawk But I think the people that are walking in like, hey, I've got this little collection that came from my grandfather. They see me and they're like, oh, this guy knows his stuff. But really, Mike, what's happened is because I was a financial advisor for a long time and my clients know what I'm doing, is I've got a lot of my clients coming to me asking for help. So that's been a real blessing for sure.
That's great. I'm out of questions. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
And I hope the best for Mike with
I do
his
too. Yeah.
with all these cards, and I hope you get max money for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a special find regardless, and he's going to do well financially. I'm excited that I get to add to this world in my special way. You know, I see you on here with some of the guys that've been doing it a long time, and they're playing with this stuff all day, every day. It's for me when like I watch your Attic Find Friday videos, and I'm like, oh man, someday I'm going to find something like that. Well, then it happened, and I was like, holy crap, I got to reach out to Mike. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I wasn't sure if I was going to post this today or if I was going to wait until Saturday, because I already have a video that's ready to go for today. But I'm definitely going to post it today. I'm going to have back-to-back Attic Find stories because I'm doing another one tomorrow. Awesome. I've never done that before. Yeah,
that's great. That's a good thing, Mike.
yeah, it's fun. Well, Lenny, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. You've got a great story, and you're a great storyteller too. And I'll be following the story. Keep in touch.
Yeah, and I wanted to share with you too. So there's going to be a camera crew down here in a couple weeks when they come back from grading. A friend of mine who's a tobacco collector he sells some at shows. He's a book seller as well, but he's going to put together a video with Mike and I together once they come back from grading. So I'll share that with you as well.
Right.
Just because once they're graded, we'll have a better idea of what we've got here. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Lenny.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure, sir. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. You too.
Take care, Mike.